Hi everyone, my name's Gregory. I don't really know who I am at the moment. I'm currently managing the Promoting MDT Excellence project at NUH. So multidisciplinary team meetings are a key decision-making point in a cancer patient's pathway. But unfortunately, it's becoming more and more difficult for these meetings to function as effectively as possible. Now, this is partly due to the number of patients that are being discussed and the increasing complexity of these patients, the fact that there's not enough time to discuss patients in the detail that MDT teams would like, certain pressure points such as in radiology and pathology, technological and environmental factors, and the fear actually of making mistakes, and that's for both clinical and administrative teams. There's also the fact that not everybody feels that they have an equal voice in the MDT meeting. And alongside that, there have been some kind of behavioural and cultural difficulties within the meeting that have been highlighted. But in terms of an intervention, we can't really hope to propose any solutions to these challenges for teams without first understanding the MDT meeting as a system or as a series of systems in which staff operate and how they actually experience the MDT. And it's likely that a lot of the kind of challenging behaviours that have been talked about are due to other factors such as the ICT equipment, frustrations around that, the number of patients that need to be discussed. So we've kind of developed a modified work domain analysis approach, which I'm still coming to grips with the kind of understanding of that, but we'll be through a series of interviews with key personnel, observations and data collection. We will be hoping to kind of map out the MDT as a process, including the goals, the main activities, the supporting activities, and the resources required, and ultimately asking what does the ideal MDT meeting look like. And then alongside that, we've integrated some quality improvement and organisational development work streams. So very briefly, that's including kind of looking at support for chairs of the meeting, upskilling MDT coordinators, and designing protocols for patients that may not need full MDT discussion, allowing more time for the more complex patients during the meeting. And just to give you a bit of a flavour of some of the data collection so far, so I've sat in a lot of MDT meetings looking a bit mad with a stopwatch. And these are just two examples of two MDT meetings from different specialties, and the graphs represent the time of discussion per patient. And as you can see, what it looks like is as you get towards the end of the meeting, the patients at the end of the meeting don't get as long a discussion as the ones towards the beginning. Now, that may be due to the structure of the agenda, so it may be that the most complex patients are discussed at the beginning of the meeting, but I think it's really important that we ask ourselves what is the impact on patient outcomes and the impact on teams of trying to discuss, 30 complex cases in 45 minutes, or 70 complex cases in 2.5 hours, and there are all kinds of anecdotal evidence. One of the MDT chairs was telling me last week that they get kicked out of their meeting room at a certain point, and it's become normal for them to then move 4 floors down to a different room to be able to finish discussing the patients at the end of the meeting. And I don't really see how you could expect a conversation of a similar quality for those patients as the ones at the beginning. So we'll be piloting this approach with 4 cancer specialties at NUH, but it's important to say that all of these MDTs link with other trusts. And what's really exciting is that the Cancer Alliance have agreed to fund this project for the next 18 months, which I think sends a really powerful message around the wider benefits of this and the potential for spread. And I think it's also important to say this isn't just about cancer. This could be applied to all kinds of multidisciplinary working throughout the NHS, really. But for us, what we're hoping to do is be able to identify any resource issues, improve the experience for staff as well as improving the equity for patients, and ultimately work with teams to design the MDT as a system that is sustainable and allows or promotes the best possible environment for effective discussion and decision making for our patients. Thank you.